You're not stressed. Your mind is making you feel like you are. Right now, in this very moment, nothing dangerous is happening, and yet your chest feels tight. Your thoughts won't slow down. There's this quiet panic sitting in the background, like something is wrong. But what if I told you, you are not in danger? You wake up in the morning, and before your body even moves, your mind is already running, thinking, planning, worrying. What if something goes wrong today? What if you mess things up again? What if you're not enough? And suddenly, you're tired, not physically, but mentally exhausted, from thoughts that haven't even happened yet. You try to distract yourself, scroll your phone, watch something, talk to someone, but it doesn't last, because the moment you're alone again, the noise comes back, louder, faster, heavier. And the strange part is, from the outside, your life might look completely fine. You're functioning, you're surviving, maybe even smiling, but inside, it feels like something is constantly pressing on your chest, a weight you can't explain, a pressure you can't escape. Have you ever felt tired without doing anything? Have you ever felt overwhelmed with no clear reason? Like your mind just won't give you a break? Here's what's really happening. Your mind doesn't just think. It repeats, over and over again. A single thought, I'm not good enough, turns into a loop. And that loop becomes a feeling. And that feeling becomes your reality. Not because it's true, but because it's repeated. Again, and again, and again. This is the trap. You don't just see your thoughts. You become them. You don't notice the anxiety. You identify with it. I am anxious. I am broken. I am lost. But what if that's not true? What if you've just been listening to the same voice for too long? And somewhere along the way, you forgot that it's just a voice, not you. Because this is where it begins. The real restlessness. Not from life itself, but from believing every thought your mind creates. And what you're about to discover next might completely change how you see your mind forever. The mind is a storyteller, but it doesn't always tell the truth. It tells convincing stories, stories that feel real, even when they're not. A small mistake becomes, I always mess things up. A delayed reply becomes, they don't care about me. A quiet moment becomes, something is wrong. And the more these stories repeat, the more your brain starts treating them as facts. Not because they are true, but because they are familiar. And familiarity feels like truth. This is how overthinking traps you. Not with logic, but with repetition. Your brain is wired to protect you, to scan for danger, to predict what might go wrong. But here's the problem. It doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a thought. So when your mind imagines something bad, your body reacts as if it's actually happening. Your heart races. Your breathing shortens. Your muscles tighten. You feel anxious, not because you're in danger, but because your brain thinks you are. Let's slow this down. A thought appears. I might fail. You believe it. That belief creates emotion, fear. That fear changes your body. Tension, restlessness, unease. And then your body sends a signal back to your brain. Something is wrong. So your brain creates more thoughts. What if I really fail? What if everything falls apart? And just like that, you're stuck in a loop. A self-created storm. Thought, emotion, body, thought again. Over and over. And the longer you stay in that loop, the more real it feels. Until one day, you don't even question it anymore. Just becomes, you're normal. But here's the part most people never realize. The problem isn't the thoughts. Thoughts will always come. Problem is attachment. You grab onto every thought, as if it's important, as if it means something about you, as if it defines you. And that's where the suffering begins. Because when you attach, you give the thought power. And when it has power, controls how you feel, how you act, how you see yourself. So if thoughts are not the problem, and the real issue is how we relate to them, then the question becomes, is there another way to experience your mind? a way where thoughts can exist, but not control you, a way where anxiety can appear, but not consume you. This is exactly what ancient wisdom discovered thousands of years ago, and what you're about to hear next might feel simple, but it has the power to completely change your inner world. In Buddhist philosophy, there's a quiet but powerful understanding. Your thoughts are not you. They are events, temporary, passing, unstable, like waves in the ocean. They rise, they fall, they disappear, but the ocean remains. Or like clouds in the sky, they come and go, sometimes light, sometimes dark, sometimes overwhelming, but no matter how many clouds appear, the sky is still there, unchanged, untouched. And here's the shift. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. Right now, even as thoughts are moving through your mind, there is a part of you that is simply aware, watching, not reacting, not judging, just noticing. That part of you is calm. It's always been calm. You just haven't been looking at it, because your attention has been stuck on the clouds. There's a story about a monk who struggled deeply with his thoughts. Every day his mind would race. Doubt, fear, memories, regret. He tried to fight them. He tried to silence them. But the more he resisted, the louder they became. One day, exhausted, he sat quietly under a tree. And instead of fighting his thoughts, he did something different. He simply watched them. No judgment, no resistance, just observation. And slowly, something unexpected happened. For the first time, he realized something that changed everything. Not just about his thoughts, but about who he truly was. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. As the monk sat beneath the tree, watching his thoughts come and go, he noticed something subtle. At first the thoughts were loud, chaotic, demanding attention, pulling him in different directions. But he didn't follow them this time. He didn't argue. He didn't resist. He didn't try to fix anything. He just watched. A thought appeared. I'm not at peace. And for the first time, he didn't believe it. He simply noticed it. And then, it passed. Another thought came. I need to control my mind. Again he watched. Again, it passed. Minutes turned into hours, and something began to shift. The thoughts were still there, but they were losing their grip, losing their urgency, losing their power. And then, in a quiet moment between two thoughts, he saw it. A space, still, silent, unmoving. And in that space, there was no fear, no anxiety, no identity, just awareness, pure awareness. And in that moment, he understood, I am not my thoughts. This realization is at the heart of Buddhist teaching. Suffering doesn't come from thoughts themselves. It comes from clinging to them. In Buddhism, this is known as attachment. When you hold on to a thought, you suffer. When you fight a thought, you suffer. When you believe every thought, you suffer. Because thoughts are unstable. They change constantly. They were never meant to define you. The Buddha taught a simple truth. Everything that arises passes away. This includes your thoughts, your emotions, your fears, even your anxiety feels permanent, but it isn't. It only feels that way because you're inside it. Think about a storm. When you're standing in the middle of it, the wind feels endless. The rain feels overwhelming, feels like it will never stop. But step back, and you see something different. The storm moves. It always moves. And eventually, it clears. Your thoughts are the same. Your anxiety is the same. It rises. It intensifies. And then, it fades. But only if you let it. Here's the truth that changes everything. Thoughts need your attention to survive. Without your attention, they disappear. Not instantly, not forcefully, but naturally, like a fire that slowly burns out when you stop feeding it. And what feeds your thoughts? Attention, belief, reaction. Every time you engage, you strengthen them. Every time you identify, You give them life. For most of your life, you've been taught to think, I am my thoughts. But that's not true. Thoughts are something you experience, not something you are. Just like you experience sounds, you experience thoughts. You don't become the sound. So why become the thought? There is something deeper than thought. Something quieter. Something stable. Awareness. The part of you that notices everything without becoming it. Right now, you are aware of these words. That awareness is not anxious. It's not overthinking. It's not afraid. It's simply present. Always here. Always still. But here's where it gets even deeper. Because recognizing awareness is only the beginning. The real transformation happens when you learn how to stay there. Even when your mind becomes loud again. Even when anxiety returns. Even when the storm comes back. And yes, it will come back. But next, you're going to learn something most people never do. How to experience those moments without getting lost in them. So now you see it. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Nothing inside your mind actually stays. And yet, something does stay. Something has been there. Through every anxious moment, every overthinking spiral, every sleepless night. That something is awareness. Not loud, not dramatic, not demanding attention, just quietly present, watching everything unfold. The reason you feel trapped is not because your mind is broken. It's because your attention is stuck. Stuck inside thoughts. Instead of observing them, imagine watching a movie. First, you know it's just a screen, just images. But if you get too absorbed, you forget. You feel the fear, the tension, the emotion. Your body reacts as if it's real. But the moment you step back, you remember, it's just a movie. Your thoughts work the same way. You got pulled into the story, and you forgot. You're the one watching it. This is the shift. From inside the thought to outside the thought. From reacting to observing. From, I am anxious, to anxiety is being noticed. That small change in perspective changes everything. Because the moment you observe a thought, you create space. And in that space, the thought loses control. Here's something important. Trying to control your thoughts will never free you. In fact, does the opposite. The more you try to stop a thought, the stronger it becomes. The more you resist anxiety, the more intense it feels. Because resistance is still attention, and attention feeds the cycle. So instead of control, you need something else. Something counterintuitive. Something simple. Right now, try this. Don't change anything. Don't fix anything. Just pause for a moment and notice your breath. Not control it. Just notice it. Air moving in. Air moving out. That's it. Now, while you're breathing, thoughts might still be there. Let them be. Don't push them away. Don't follow them. Just watch, like you're sitting in a theater, and thoughts are scenes passing on a screen. You don't jump into the movie. You stay in your seat, watching. A thought appears. I'm still anxious. Notice it. A feeling arises. Tension in your chest. Notice it. Another thought. This isn't working. Notice that too. No judgment. No reaction. Just observation. Because the goal is not to stop the experience. The goal is to change your relationship with it. Here's where most people struggle. They think acceptance means giving up. Doesn't. Acceptance means allowing reality to be what it is, without fighting it. Because what you resist, persists, and what you allow, begins to lose its intensity. When you stop fighting anxiety, you remove the fuel. And without fuel, it cannot burn for long. At first, nothing dramatic happens. Thoughts still come. Feelings still arise. But something subtle changes. You're not as pulled in. Not as reactive. Not as overwhelmed. There's a small distance now between you and your mind. And in that distance, there is relief. But this is just the beginning. Because if you continue this practice, something deeper starts to unfold. A shift that goes beyond just calmness. A shift in how you see yourself, in how you experience life, in how you relate to every thought, every emotion, every moment. And once that shift happens, you don't just feel better, you become free. If you stay with this, if you keep observing, not forcing, not controlling, just noticing, something begins to change. Quietly, almost invisibly. First, it's just a small gap, a tiny space between you and your thoughts. Before, thought would appear, and instantly you were inside it, lost in it. But now, there's a pause, a moment of awareness. You see the thought before it pulls you in, and in that moment, you have a choice. The thought says, what if something goes wrong? But instead of reacting, you notice it, you feel it, but you don't become it. And something surprising happens. It passes faster, much faster than before, because you didn't feed it. You didn't give it your full attention. You didn't build a story around it. You just let it exist, and then disappear. This is where real calm begins. Not the kind you chase, not the kind you force, but the kind that naturally appears. When there's nothing left to fight, your mind might still create noise, but it doesn't control you anymore. It's just background, like distant traffic, still there, but no longer overwhelming. And as this continues, you start noticing something else. The present moment, not as an idea, but as a real experience. The feeling of your breath, the sensation of your body, the quiet space around you, things that were always there, but were hidden under noise. Now, they're clear, simple, peaceful. The loop begins to break. Thought, emotion, reaction, thought slows down, weakens, and eventually, it loses its grip. Not because you forced it to stop, but because you stopped feeding it. But understand this, the goal is not to eliminate thoughts forever. That's impossible. Thoughts will always come. Some days, they'll come stronger, faster, louder. And that's okay, because now, you know something you didn't know before. You know how to see them, without becoming them, and it will return. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later today. A wave of anxiety, a sudden rush of overthinking, a moment where everything feels heavy again. But this time, something is different. You don't panic. You don't spiral the same way. Instead, you pause, you breathe, you observe, and in that moment, you remember, this is just a wave. And just like every wave before it, it will pass. This is the real shift. You no longer see yourself as the anxious person, or the overthinker, or the one who can't find peace. Now, you see clearly, those were experiences, not identity, not who you are. You are the awareness behind it all, the quiet observer, the stillness beneath the noise, the space in which everything happens, but nothing stays. And when you live from that place, life feels different, lighter, softer, more open. But there's one last thing, one final realization that brings everything together. Because even now, a small part of you might still believe, something is wrong with me, and what you're about to understand next will dissolve that completely. Maybe for a long time, you believed something was wrong with you, that your mind was too much, too loud, too broken. Maybe you thought, why can't I just be normal? Why can't I stop thinking like this? Why does everything feel so heavy, even when nothing is wrong? And slowly, without even realizing it, you started to believe that you were the problem. But here's the truth. Nothing is wrong with you. You were never broken. You were never lost. You were just listening too closely to your thoughts, believing every story they told, identifying with every feeling that passed through you. Your mind created noise, and you thought that noise was you. Your mind created fear, and you thought you were in danger. Your mind created doubt, and you thought you weren't enough. But now, you can see it, clearly, calmly, without fear. You are not the thoughts. You are not the anxiety. You are not the overthinking. You are the awareness that notices all of it. Right now, even as you're listening to this, there is a quiet presence inside you, still, unmoving, at peace. It's not trying to fix anything. It's not trying to escape anything. It's just here. And it has always been here. Even in your worst moments. Even in your most anxious nights. Even when everything felt out of control. This part of you remained untouched. You don't need to find peace. You don't need to chase calm. You don't need to fix yourself. Because what you're looking for is not something you lost. Something you forgot. Now, you're remembering. Every time you pause, every time you breathe, every time you observe instead of react, you return to this moment, to this awareness, to yourself. So the next time your mind feels overwhelming, don't fight it. Don't run from it. Just pause, take a breath, and gently remind yourself, this is just a thought, not a fact, not a threat, not who I am. Let it come, let it stay, let it go, because just like every thought before it, this one will pass too. If this moment gave you even a little bit of peace, take another breath, slowly, gently, and stay here just a little longer. And if you'd like more moments like this, more clarity, more calm, more understanding, you can explore more on the Soft Zen Mind channel. Until then, just breathe. You're safe, even if it doesn't feel like it.